And now let's go to Boris Johnson, a warrior for Brexit, but a leader who ultimately betrayed the Conservative voters who backed him in huge numbers. He wanted to be the next Churchill, but too often he proved to be just a sheep in sheep's clothing. And particularly during the pandemic, he was so disappointing, handing control of the country to unelected bureaucrats, and then he failed to follow his own government's illiberal rules.
So no, I will not support those who flout the rules on social distancing for the obvious reason that we risk a new infection at a critical time, just as we've made huge progress.
It did not occur to me then or subsequently that a gathering in the Cabinet room just before a vital meeting on COVID strategy could amount to a breach of the rules. I repeat, that was my mistake, and I apologise for it unreservedly.
Weak PM that he folded when faced with Black Lives Matter activists. Boris Johnson actually repeated their mantra about Britain being riddled with institutional racism. It took an independent inquiry to confirm Johnson was talking utter nonsense.
In the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement, the government put together a commission to look into racial inequality in Britain. Today, they released their findings, claiming that far from having a problem, the UK is a world leader when it comes to eradicating racism. The report found no evidence of institutional racism, that inequalities are more likely to be caused by geography, poverty and culture than race, and that ethnic minorities are haunted by historic racism that doesn't exist anymore in modern Britain.
Speaking of woke, he was a PM who was too scared to treat that term with the contempt it deserves.
You know, insofar as nothing wrong being woke.
And he also combined the nonsense of wokeness with the socialist mantra of Klaus Schwab and the lunacy of green ideology.
We're building back better together, and building back greener, and building back fairer, and building back more equal, and how shall I, in a more gender neutral and perhaps a more feminine way. How about that, apart from anything else?
If Putin was a woman, which he obviously isn't, but if he were, I really don't think he would have embarked on a crazy macho war of invasion and violence in the way that he has. If you want a perfect example of toxic masculinity, it's what he's doing in Ukraine.
In short, he lost the plot.
If you have an old kettle that takes ages to boil, it may cost you £20 to replace it. But if you get a new one, you'll save £10 a year for every year on your £10 a year every year on your electricity bill.
The PM perhaps keen to turn the page. But which page?
Forgive me. Forgive me.
And then completely off script.
I don't know if you've been to Peppa Pig World. Hands up anyone who's been to Peppa Pig World.
And his legacy is one of renewables folly.
We want to be the Klondike of carbon capture and storage, the Qatar of hydrogen. I think Qatar may already be the Qatar of hydrogen. And we're making such massive progress that we've now pledged to switch entirely to green power generation by 2035.
Not all about some expensive, politically correct green act of bunny hugging, or however you want to put it. I'm nothing wrong with bunny hugging, but you know what I'm driving at, friends and colleagues. I want to leave you with the thought that we can build back better from this pandemic by building back greener. And don't forget that the UK has been able to cut our own CO2 emissions by about 42% on 1990 levels, and we've seen our economy grow by 73%. You can do both at once. Cake, have, eat is my message to you.
UK households will pay almost triple the price to keep their homes this winter compared with a year ago.
And when Kermit the Frog sang, "It's not easy being green." You remember that one? I want you to know that he was wrong. He was wrong. It is easy. It's not only easy, it's lucrative and it's right to be green. Although he was also unnecessarily rude to Miss Piggy, I thought, Kermit the Frog. But it is easy to be green. We have the technology.
Boris Johnson wasted a landslide victory, pandered to those who'd never vote for him and inflicted mad green policies on his countrymen.